My guest today has worked on some really, really popular shows, which all of you may have heard of, I'm sure you have, including 8 out of 10 Cats, James Martin's Saturday Morning, and Blind Date. Welcome, Script Supervisor Jemilah Sharmarke. So good to have you.
Thank you so much for having me, Samina. I'm really looking forward to this.
Oh, brilliant. Honestly, we're going to have a good time sharing your experience with everybody who wants to get into your role. So listen, before we delve into your career, could you just very, very briefly explain what a script supervisor is? Because back in my day, you know, when I was working on crew, they were called PAs. Is that still the case? What's going on?
Script supervisors were called PAs also when I first started in television, and then when lots of industry professionals became self-employed because all the big companies found that they weren't able to have lots of staff members. Lots of independent productions sprung up, and we became all freelancers. And an assistant, you can't be a freelancer, so we had to get a supervising title in order to be so it was a tax thing. And but also then someone discovered that production assistants are runners in America, and so it felt like that was a bit confusing internationally, and the script supervisors is the name that stuck. People have been in the game as long as I have sometimes refer to themselves as PAs, but if you meet someone in my role, I would recommend calling them a script supervisor and let them call themselves a PA, if that's, you know. And,
yeah, they have a choice then, you know, give them the respect and let them decide what they want to call.
Yes.
And also
and in America,
yeah. Go ahead. I
was going to say, in America, script supervisors get called associate directors, and 3 people as a minimum do our single job that we do in the UK. So it's really, yeah, very, very different there.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, we've got everything's kind of international when it comes to filming these days, especially on films. But we'll talk a little bit about your kind of role in film a little bit later on. So now let's do a deep dive. Tell us, Jemilah, how, you know, what pathway did you take to becoming a script supervisor? Is there a set pathway? And what kind of steps did you have to take?
In all roles in TV, there's no exact set pathway. It's still pretty mysterious. I think a lot of people find that they don't quite know how they exactly got where they got to, but they find they love it, and so they stay. So for me, I was one of those people, but I love the fact that we're able to have a chat with people who want to get into the industry, because that's so brilliant. When you are getting into the industry, whatever age you are, but when you're making your first move, is when you can be really cheeky. You can ask anybody, you can contact anyone, because it's like your first, because you don't know much about the industry yet, and
you can get away with it essentially.
Exactly. Everyone will answer your email, everyone will answer your questions. So it's just a really good time to be asking anyone that you fancy working for or with, until you get into a stream. Once you get into a stream, it becomes harder to move into a different role. So it's also a good time to really see what tickles your fancy and what you enjoy doing and what you find that you're good at.
And Jemilah, may I just interject? You know, I'm so pleased you brought this up, because that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing all these interviews, to give people at entry level an idea of all the different roles, so they have to do less research in deciding what pathway do I want to take. So I just wanted to put that on the table.
Yes, absolutely. And all I wanted to say is, like, a job like mine, you might not know about. Most people know about directors, they know about producers, know about writers or camera people, sound. But you know, the kind of job that I have, you don't necessarily know so much about. So you wouldn't know that you could do it and maybe really love it. Yeah, so with me, when I was 18, I wanted to get in the film industry and TV industry, and so I wrote to everyone I thought I would like to work with, including Robert De Niro, and he said yes. They said yes. I got to intern in New York for 3 months at Tribeca Film Centre, which had just started.
Wow, Robert De Niro's team got back to you.
They did. This is what I mean. Go for it. Whatever you want to do, go for it. at the beginning, because it becomes harder to move as you get
established,
to go down the line.
Yeah.
So the people I was still in touch with, other people that I was hoping to work for. One of them was a company, Humphrey Barclay Productions, that at the time was making a program called Desmond's, and they were about the only people really looking to train and particularly reach out to ethnic minorities, which wasn't really happening at the time. They really pioneered that, and they were impressed that I'd been working for Robert De Niro. I was making tea and coffee out there, and whatever, but it sounded pretty cool. So they gave me an opportunity to work there, and as a trainee production secretary, because I could type. And then the script supervisor took me under her wing and said, "I'll teach you how to do my job," and she did. And then I went to, when Humphrey Barclay and his assistant Diana Crystal Honey went to London Weekend Television, I went with them. They took me with them into the comedy department there, and London Weekend Television had a training scheme, and it took two people, me and my friend Kate Moran, who's associate director in Los Angeles now. And so they also, it's on the job training. My job, you need to have someone, even if you, the BBC does schemes, but even so, you need someone who's going to take you under their wing. So contact me. I would love to.
Exactly, brilliant. It's like, get in touch with Jemilah. If script supervising is something you're into, she's even offered, so it's not like you'll be bothering her, so go for it. So Jemilah, what's interesting, what you've just said, is that when somebody supports you, i.e. gives you training, because that's what happened to me. When I came into the industry, a floor manager, very, very well-known floor manager, took me under his wing and said to me, "I'll happily train you," based on one job I did for him, So then those people carry you further with their career. So it's really important to stay connected and get on with people. So can you just talk a little bit about that, and also about networking, because a lot of the work is freelance, so networking is critical.
Yes, absolutely. Just be yourself. I think that's the thing, and whatever you can do to make yourself feel confident in that. So maybe media training, you want to study media, and that might make you feel confident, or getting a different degree might make you feel confident. Having a part-time job so that you can do work without more sort of intern type work, or you don't need lots of money for, but yes, just really any way that you can get in, any local project that's happening, any like local filmmaker who wants support, like any way that you can get in, or so that's film, TV, and the BBC do schemes. There's also some courses that you can sign up for online, so I would just say, once you're in, the thing that was said to me, I remember I was running on a student film. The thing that made me feel confident was to go to a media course, and then I spent most of my time with the media course helping anybody out who was making a film. I just wanted to learn. And one of the most important nuggets was, let people tell you what you already know.
Yeah.
Because when you're new, you want to, make it clear that, yes, I love this. I've been studying this, and stuff like that. And actually, one of the ways that people want to help you is by telling you things. And so sometimes you will have heard that a lot, but the relationship is more important with that person. They obviously feel that they like you and they want to connect with you. And so sometimes listening to something that you really know well and warmly will be the thing that will cement your friendship and perhaps then get you the next.
Yeah, definitely. Listening is a very key skill. So listen, let's break it down. What kind of skills do you need to be a script supervisor, and also what kind of traits as a person?
Working in a gallery, the most important skill is listening, and that is one thing actually that you can't train one to listen. So that is, And what I mean by that is that you're concentrating, but you also need to. So my role is between the director and the producer. So all the creative decisions that both of them have made to ensure that they happen. And to be that bridge between them. The producer is always the boss, but once you get into the gallery, the director is the boss of that domain. So they're running that area. So the producer has already made their decisions, planned it all, done the script. Director, you will have got that script from the producer. The director will have perhaps put camera shots on it, or certainly designed how I'm referring to a multi-camera studio. So however many cameras, might be 2, it might be 50, and we'll have planned how exactly what shots those cameras are going to get. And then in whatever way is appropriate for the production, my job would have been to put that into a script so the camera people know exactly what the director's got in vision, and the sound people, the lighting people, the floor management, and the artists, should there be artists, all know when to come, things like that.
And also the timing
knows what their role is. Yes,
and the timing is critical, because essentially in the gallery, which is a room with lots of monitors, each monitor showcases the different camera shots being offered up, and you know, there's a table with lots of technical equipment. I'll add some photos so people can get an understanding, but timing is critical, especially on a live show, and you are in charge of the time. Essentially that's your job role as well as everything else.
Yes, absolutely. So and the timing on a live show is like the most important part in a way of my job, but I would still need to be calling the shots. So everybody is listening to the director, myself, and the producer to know what's happening next. And my role within that is to be like marking through, so everyone knows exactly where they are at any particular time through the script, and also timing. So if it's a live show, everything, we have to get on air exactly at a particular time and off air exactly at a particular time, because the people at home have kindly given up their time and excited to see what, you know, is happening in this installment. And so it needs to start exactly when you said it's going to start, and finish exactly when you said it's going to finish, out of respect for their time and their lives. And so it's my job to manage.
Interject, Jemilah, but also, you know, certain channels have adverts, so you can't fall into an advert. You've got to have that space. That space has been given for the advert, so therefore you have to come out as per scheduled time as well. Do you know what? I made best friends with script supervisors when I was working as a floor manager. Honestly, without you guys, I would not have been able to do my job, because you just break down everything and then everybody knows where you're at any given moment. So let me get this correct. So the kind of skill set you need is really good listening, having focus, getting on with people, and being super organized.
Yes, definitely. And also a good dose of trying not to be afraid, and just really, really backing yourself, because in particularly in a live environment, people will turn to you, and everyone's very concerned about the time. That people will really be relying on you to be a calm voice in the center of that particular part, knowing she's got that, and you know that we don't have to worry about that, so they can focus on the content. So yeah, I think having a calmness. I think there's fight, flight, or freeze, and I think that my thing is freeze. I think under pressure I like really freeze and focus. So I think yes, good under pressure for sure is something that's really helpful. But you get there, you learn it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So to share with us, what's the most challenging aspect of your job, and what's the most enjoyable?
I think the most challenging part of my job probably is that's such a good question. The different challenges depending on the stage of production, because the great thing about my job is I get involved in pre-production, production, and often post-production. So there's different challenges at different points. But I would say most definitely the most challenging thing is shot calling and timing. And if you're doing music, you're also counting beats. So the director has planned that a shot will last 2 beats, 2 bars and 3 beats. And so you're counting through the music and shot calling so that everybody knows. The cameraman can go like that and then stop just in time, you know, and there's nice tracking shots, stop perfectly. You know, they're relying on you counting. Yeah, the shot calling and the timing, I think, are for sure the most challenging part.
And I would just like to add, I would urge everybody who's watching, joining us today, to go watch some shows where there's live music, and you'll see the camera cuts. And then you can picture Jemilah in the gallery, and she's the one counting the bars, and the director is then getting the vision mixer, or the director himself is cutting, so that everything, like he's cutting to the music, so everything just fits just perfectly. It is a real skill, Jemilah, it really is. So listen, can you just, you didn't say what's the most challenging. That was the most challenging. What's the most enjoyable aspect?
The same. I think what you work hard at, you end up loving.
Yeah.
There's nothing more satisfying than getting the show off air to the second you count off air, and everyone's so happy, and so are you. And you get to the end of a music number, and there's been, you know, the final beat of the beautiful singer or whatever, you know, and it's all gone perfectly. It's just, there's nothing like the buzz of
it's a real high, isn't it?
and timing. It's a real
working
high,
on live
sure.
shows can be really stressful, but at the end of it, you walk away generally on a high, you know. So listen.
And even recorded shows, you know, just the reward of focusing hard and challenging, and you know, it's so enjoyable. It's so enjoyable.
Definitely. You mentioned earlier that there's no training per se, you know, you have to go seek it out, you know, the BBC you mentioned, and I'm sure that if people do search online, they can get connected in this way and get some training. So what other ways, you know, so you mentioned like reaching out to script supervisors, so go on social media, is that what you're suggesting? Go find people on LinkedIn and just have a conversation?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Whatever way, I think, you know, when you're beginning, as I say, there's never a reason not to ask somebody, you know, politely, you know, hello, you know, I'm so-and-so, and I'm, you know, I hope you're well, something like that. At the beginning is always nice, this challenging time we've been having. Just a polite short message. If it's okay, I'm reaching out of the blue to you out of the blue. We've not met, don't have any connections to you, but I'm interested in learning about script supervising. Would you be interested? I imagine that you'd get a positive response. Or you know, if you don't, be undeterred. You know, just reach, you'll find the right person, because the thing about TV is a little bit like dating and a little bit like dating, and you can't sort of say exactly why that person works with that person, but you kind of find that crews and productions, they have recurring staff because there's just a fit. So don't be discouraged. You know, there's someone for everyone, and for sure you'll find your team. You know, they're out there. And you know, your script supervisor support is for sure out there.
Yeah, definitely. You got to find your match. So there you go. Excellent advice from Jemilah. Just get out your comfort zone. Don't be shy. Get in contact with script supervisors if this is the route you want to take. And you know, people are really generous, aren't they, in this industry? And they do respond. I always respond to people, you know, very honestly. If I can help them, I do my best. And if I can't, I'm like, look, let me see if I can find somebody I can connect you with, or I'll just say I can't. So I think it's great advice. So Jemilah, just to wrap up, anything else you'd like to add before we say our goodbyes?
Yeah, just remember that everyone who's working in the industry has been helped by somebody, you know, so they really do want to pay that forward. You know, so, you know, there's nobody that's working in the industry who hasn't had, you know, people in their corner. So, you know, it's not like a closed industry. It really has its arms open. Just reach, you know, just reach out for that. Yeah, go for your dreams, have big dreams. There's nothing that you can't achieve, really, at any stage of your life. You know, if you've got this, if you feel you want to do it, there's a space for you in TV and film. So please, yeah, please.
Go for it. Go for it. Oh, that's brilliant. I love
Yeah.
the positive end to this interview. Jemilah, it's been an absolute joy. Thank you so much for giving so much advice. It's just been absolutely brilliant to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I've really loved every second.